Hello, welcome to the introduction to BIM in the module 1.1 in the Digital Twins, the Coming Future for Infrastructures and Cities MOOC. In this video, we are going to speak about building information modeling, BIM, and the definition of BIM has been evolving during the last years from a simple digital representation of any built environment, any asset. Now, after that, it was considered as a centralized repository of information, or the representation of any reality with a virtual form that can help for an efficient and accurate management through all the life cycle. The benefits and advantages of using BIM are mainly the cost, efficiency, and time savings. That's the success of BIM. However, one of the consequences of BIM is also the use of collaborative working, which helps using several disciplines in the same project with data accuracy and quality control. And also, if we use BIM from the design phase through the construction phase and also the demolition phase, we can have a lot of advantages during all the life cycle of any asset. The core principles then are this collaborative methodology with the integrated information and the lifecycle management. And the key components can be considered the 3D geometry and data, the common data environment that we can build in order to have all the data together, and the use of IFC and information exchange between these different files through our federated model. What is this exactly? This means that if I have one single source of truth, I have all the data and all the modifications in the same model, as we can see, for example, here. If all the elements here is not only 3D, but if I select one object, it will have data. It will say this is concrete, reinforced concrete with some steel, and it was built someday. So all this information can be all together in the different disciplines. With this advantage and other ones, for example, the class detective, in which I can collapse two disciplines and see if there is any interaction that I should consider during the design phase, I can reduce a lot of errors typical in the conventional projects. So the federated model means that the collaborative way of working can be all together working in the same model so that we can reduce these errors. And once we have the 3D model, new ideas appear. We can have these objects and insert to them new properties, such as, for example, time. And if I put time to each of the elements that I have modeled, now I can schedule the construction works, which means that if I make an exhaustive study of the construction works, I can reduce a lot of time during the construction and spend a bit more during the design phase, but I reduce errors and I can be closer to industrialization and improve productivity. Also, I can put money, I can insert the ideas of sustainability, management, safety, lean construction, industrialized construction. And with these ideas, the dimensions, so-called dimensions of BIM appear. But the important reason is that these dimensions must be useful. The most useful one by now, and it's in the tenders, are many times mandatory, is the study of the construction schedule. The exhaustive study can help us reducing the time in the job site, which can be very important. The problem is that for each of the dimensions, new software can appear, and not always with good interoperability between them. So now we are in this Tower of Babel of the software, and the integration and the interoperability are probably the main challenges that we are facing now. We need to study carefully what software are we going to use. Anyway, BIM is now mandatory in many of the countries in Europe and is very implemented all worldwide. So any company that wants to be competitive needs to use BIM. So the sooner we start, the sooner we will be there. In the analytical report of the European Commission here, we can see that BIM and digital twins are the base for the development of each of the technologies, whether it is IoT, sensors, robotics, AI, 3D scanning, 3D printing, virtual reality, augmented reality, drones. All of them are based on the idea of having these 3D models with information. The base are BIM-based digital twins, and the ideas come from that. So the development of our BIM models during the design phase, and also taking into account that we have to create the models for already existing structures, are going to be the base of the future in our field. So as a summary of conclusions, let's say that BIM is not just a 3D model, it is a project management methodology. BIM is mandatory since 2019 and improves project quality and reduces errors and costs. It's also worth mentioning that in Europe, more than 80% of the built environment was built before 1990, which means that our buildings have more than 30 years now. So a good management during the operation of and the extension of lifespan of those structures can be based on BIM too. And managing these existing assets with BIM have significant possibilities, especially when it comes to civil engineering, when we combine it with other technologies, given that the management of our civil infrastructure is very complex and it has a lot of data to manage and a lot of difficulties that can be optimized by using this kind of technologies. Thank you for your attention. Remember that this video is a part of the Digital Twins for Complex Infrastructures and Cities project, and you can find more in that QR that has been shown. Thank you very much.